Good evening and welcome. Tonight, a story that refuses to go away, and one that is now fueling deep mistrust in the very institutions meant to uphold justice. The Trump administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case is once again under intense scrutiny.
Mr. Chairman, the Trump administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case is baffling. It's frustrating the American people, and it's exacerbating the mistrust in the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. In February, Attorney General Bondi, 17 days into the job, said in a Fox News interview that the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now to review, end of quote. The White House then staged a major media release of Epstein-related files on February 27th, including preparing binders for conservative influencers and commentators. However, the files released were largely already publicly available. There was nothing new. After intense blowback, Attorney General Bondi went back to Fox News, the mothership, and claimed that a whistleblower, quote, assured her there were more files, and that, quote, New York, Southern District of New York, was sitting on thousands of pages of documents. And she promised on Fox, and I quote, we will get everything, and the country will see, quote, the full Epstein files. These are quotes from Attorney General Bondi voluntarily appearing on Fox News to explain the situation. For the next 4 months, the Department of Justice and the FBI were silent. What happened during that period? Well, we received information that Attorney General Bondi pressured the FBI to assign, now get this, approximately 1,000 agents in its Information Management Division and hundreds of additional agents from the New York field office to work 24-hour shifts to review and produce more documents on Epstein on an arbitrarily short deadline. These officials were told to, quote, flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. But after this flurry of activity using tens of thousands of personnel hours in March, it took DOJ and FBI 3 additional months to produce no new documents, but rather an unsigned memorandum on July 7th finding that, quote, this systemic review revealed no incriminating client list. Naturally, after all of the public promises Attorney General Bondi has made, the public is really suspicious of her finding. This suspicion has been exacerbated by public reporting that FBI Director Patel and FBI Deputy Director Bongino disagree with Attorney General Bondi's handling of this matter. Public mistrust has been fed by other claims in the July 7th memorandum. This memorandum included links to surveillance video footage from outside Epstein's cell in the hours leading up to his death. The July 7th memorandum describes one of the videos released as full, raw footage, yet experts who've analyzed it concluded the video was likely modified. The Trump administration has essentially created a new controversy rather than solving one. President Trump is not helping matters at all. Despite his administration continuing making promises about the transparency on Jeffrey Epstein and claims about the existence of records that have not been produced, he is currently telling the country the president is saying this is all, quote, a scam, close quote. Yesterday, President Trump posted on his personal social media site, and I quote, my past supporters have bought into this BS hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson, and they probably never will. That's from the president's personal social media. This is the president talking about his own constituents who are concerned about claims his own campaign surrogates and administration have continually raised. President Trump and Attorney General Bondi are directly responsible for all this confusion and mistrust, and they need to be fully transparent, and they should release all of the documents for the public to review as quickly as possible.
And what began as promises of transparency has turned into confusion, contradictions, and growing public suspicion. If you want clear, in-depth reporting on stories like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay informed. The controversy centers on Attorney General Pam Bondi and a series of very public statements she made shortly after taking office. In February, just 17 days into her role, Bondi went on Fox News and told viewers that the Epstein client list was, quote, "sitting on my desk right now to review." That statement immediately raised expectations across the country, because for years, the public has been told there were powerful names connected to Epstein that had never been fully disclosed. If you value accountability journalism that breaks these moments down clearly, subscribe now so you do not miss future updates. Days later, the White House staged a high-profile media release of Epstein-related files. Conservative influencers were invited, binders were prepared, cameras were rolling. But when the files were examined, reporters and researchers found something startling. Almost everything released was already publicly available. There were no bombshells, no new revelations, no client list. The backlash was swift, and it forced Attorney General Bondi back onto Fox News to explain what happened. If you want analysis that separates political theater from real transparency, remember to subscribe. During that follow-up interview, Bondi claimed a whistleblower had assured her there were far more documents still hidden away. She specifically said the Southern District of New York was sitting on thousands of pages and promised that everything would be obtained and released so the country could see the full Epstein files. Those were not off-the-record comments. They were clear public promises made on national television. And then something strange happened. For 4 months, the Department of Justice and the FBI went silent. If you are trying to follow complex stories like this without the spin, subscribe so you can keep learning with us. According to information provided to lawmakers, Attorney General Bondi pressured the FBI to assign roughly 1,000 agents from its Information Management Division, along with hundreds more from the New York field office, to work around the clock reviewing Epstein-related records. These agents were reportedly working 24-hour shifts under an extremely tight deadline. They were also instructed to flag any records that mentioned President Trump. For more reporting that connects the dots others gloss over, subscribe to the channel. After tens of thousands of personnel hours and months of work, the outcome shocked many Americans. On July 7th, the Department of Justice released no new documents. Instead, it issued an unsigned memorandum stating that a systemic review revealed no incriminating client list. This conclusion directly contradicted months of public statements made by the Attorney General herself. Understandably, the public reaction was not relief, but suspicion. If you want careful explanations of why these contradictions matter, subscribe so you stay ahead of the story. That mistrust deepened, with reports that FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bonino privately disagreed with Bondi's handling of the case. When senior law enforcement leaders appear divided on an issue this sensitive, it undermines confidence even further. The memorandum also claimed that surveillance footage from outside Epstein's jail cell was released in full and in raw form, but independent experts who analyzed the footage concluded it was likely modified. That finding alone raises new questions about evidence handling and transparency. If you care about facts over talking points, subscribe for continued coverage. At the heart of this story is a fundamental issue of trust. When leaders repeatedly promise transparency and then deliver silence, recycled information, or contradictory explanations, public confidence erodes. The Epstein case is not just about one man or one crime. It represents broader concerns about accountability, power, and whether the justice system treats everyone equally. President Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi now face growing pressure to release all remaining documents and let the public see the full record for themselves. Until that happens, suspicion is likely to remain. If you want ongoing, clear-eyed reporting as this story continues to unfold, subscribe to the channel and stay with us.